What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right. First of all, what I want to say, I want to give a shout out to Jason for his donation to the channel. Thank you, Jason. Much support, man. He's been very supportive of my channel. Sorry about your Giants today, man. You and I were talking, man. You don't really expect much for the team this year, but you guys lost to us. Hey, man, but y'all guys got 4 Super Bowls, man. We ain't got shit. We went to 4 straight, lost all of them. But the Buffalo Bills, 2-0. I know it ain't gonna last long, but we're 2-0. So, with that said, let me move on to something else. What else I want to say? If you want to support my channel, contribute to Too Raw for TV, you can do so on links provided in the description box below via the PayPal, the Cash App. I have the Patreon where you guys can sign up to if you want to for only $2 a month. On the Patreon, I'm able to talk about stuff that I can't talk about on YouTube. And, oh yeah, let me give a quick fuck you to somebody. Fuck you to Joel K, whatever the fuck your name is. Number one, I blocked your ass. I had to block a couple people, man. Some of you dudes, I don't know what the fuck going on with you guys, but you're not gonna be talking to me in kind of fucking type of way. Okay? It's none of your business why I shout Tiki TV in videos. But I'm just gonna explain anyway because you're a dumbass and you don't understand etiquette of video making. See, there's a such thing as the LDBC, okay? It's the Lions Den basketball community, but in this situation, the Lions Den's boxing community, but in this case, the Lions Den basketball community, right? And we're all a member, we're all affiliated with that. So if I see someone do a video talking about a subject that I'm going to do a video about, it's common courtesy to shout that person out because they made a video about the subject matter you're going to make a video about. And yeah, Tiki TV does know who I am. Okay? It's none of your fucking business if he did know who I am, but he does know who I am. Some of you dudes, man, y'all worry about the wrong shit. Instead of talking about the shit I'm talking about in the video, oh man, why you always asking for money? Why you always begging for money? Hey man, why you always shouting this? Shut the fuck up! I do what the fuck I want to do on my channel. You got your own channel, you do what the fuck you want to do. So, with that said, Gideon had a great video idea, that he put out there in my last video. And he wanted to know my stance on the Kobe versus Shaq thing, like who carried who and all this type shit. And I know a lot of people get this from, you watch Inside the NBA, if Shaq and Charles get into it, often what you'll hear is this. You'll hear Charles get it from Shaq about how he has no one title. And Shaq might say, Google me, I got 4 rings and all this type shit. And then Barkley will say, well, I have rings too if I had Wade or Shaq or Kobe carry me up down the court all day. And it's just a term that you hear now more often, like people carrying someone or this guy carried this guy, and you hear it more and more often. And I don't like it, honestly. I think it's a very misplaced term. Like, if you guys want to say, or somebody want to say something like, well, Shaq and Kobe carried Horace Grant to a title, or something like that. A guy that at that time Horace Grant was like at the end of his career, or Kobe and Gasol carried Jordan Farmar to a title, or if you want to say something like that, okay, yeah, because they did about the starting lineup did about 80% of the load, and then the good starters carried about the other 15% of the load, and then a guy like Jordan Farmar did a little thing here. Yeah, I can see that. But to say a fellow starting all-star or superstar was being carried by another one. Nah, that's a misplaced term. I'm gonna tell you guys something else too. Scottie Pippen is becoming one of the more disrespected NBA legends in history, and I do use that term for Scottie Pippen. I've grown to appreciate him as I've gotten older. I'm gonna tell you something. The first couple of months of that 72 win team, 95-96, Michael Jordan wasn't the best player on that team. It was Scottie Pippen. Go back and look at, on a per nightly basis, go back and look at that team. I'd say from November 95 through about January 96. I can't remember when, but sometime during that, after that period, Scottie hurt his back. He hurt his back, and while he did play like 77 games that year, he slowly, his level of play slowly began to slide off a little bit. Like, you started noticing Scottie settling for the outside shot a little bit more and more. Earlier in that season, Scottie was taking it to the rack more. Scottie wasn't just settling. I mean, I don't know, man. He was just awesome. He was hitting his threes like he was fucking Glenn Rice. I mean, his level of play was just incredible. Now, do I think that Scottie is as good as Michael Jordan overall? No. But to say that Michael Jordan carried Scottie Pippen? No. And to go to the subject matter at hand, neither Kobe Bryant carried Shaq, nor did Shaq carry Kobe Bryant. They both were essential contributors to those Lakers teams. Now, Kobe has a great point when he says that if Shaq took better care of himself, maybe they would have won more titles. Now, 12 rings is a bit much. But I can't see them winning an extra, one or two titles. And Shaq was able to take care of himself. But at the same time, Shaq made a good point about how Kobe got a little bit too competitive during the 2004 finals and began taking bad shots. Sometimes when you're not going offensively, there's other ways to contribute out there other than just shooting. And I think Kobe can sometimes get a little bit too competitive with the one-on-one matchups and, well, this guy can't stop me and I'll prove it. Sometimes it's better to, cede to a guy like Shaq, who, if I remember correctly, shot 63% from the floor in that series. Despite the perception that Ben Wallace shut him down, which Ben Wallace was effective against Shaq in certain stretches and maybe a game or a couple, but he certainly didn't, I would say, shut Shaq down. What I think happened, in my opinion, is that Kobe began to assert himself offensively after the 99-2000 season. The 99-2000 season, which is the only season that Shaquille O'Neal won the MVP, which is kind of a travesty. That year, Shaq averaged, I think, like 29 plus points per game. And clearly he was the dominant cog for the Lakers. That's the year they won 67-15. And I think that, in my opinion at least, the Lakers were a little bit better when they played inside out. After that year, Kobe began to become more assertive offensively. And there were seasons thereafter where Kobe actually averaged more points during the postseason than Shaq. There was one year where I think he averaged like 30 plus points, while Shaq averaged like 28, 29 in the playoffs. But slowly but surely, what happened is that the Lakers started playing more outside in. The ball was being more instead of maybe Fisher or Kobe or whoever constantly looking for Shaq first within the offensive setup. Oftentimes, the ball stayed kind of stagnant with Kobe, or it was more perimeter orientated the way the offense was, and then if something wasn't working, they would go to Shaq. oftentimes, though, Shaq would get the ball a little bit late in the shot clock. And sometimes what I remember is that what would happen is Shaq would get the ball with like 5 seconds to go. He would have to try to do something. And then, maybe a double team would come over and then he'll lose the ball out of bounds, turnover, or he might miss a shot. And it makes Shaq look bad, but he didn't really have time to work. I do remember seeing stuff like that. But over time, Kobe became an equal contributor. And then perhaps by that 2004 year, which is last year they went to finals, Kobe had became the more slightly dominant offensive piece for that team. Sometimes this worked. Kobe Bryant, when he was on fire, when he really had his game going offensively, is arguably the most unstoppable offensive player I've ever seen in my life. When Kobe got hot, he got hot. I mean, in a way that I really hadn't seen a guy get hot before. I mean, he would hit some shots sometimes that I can't believe this motherfucker made that shot. Even Phil Jackson said that he had never seen a guy get hot the way he saw Kobe get hot. But sometimes when Kobe was cold, instead of falling back, Kobe would still try to force the issue sometimes. That was one of my great frustrations watching Kobe Bryant sometimes, because sometimes he didn't know when to ring it in and play within the team concept sometimes. But as a talent, Kobe was non-pareil. As far as a skilled basketball player, Kobe had pretty much no equal. Now, as far as dominance is concerned, Shaquille O'Neal to me is the second most dominant offensive player. Well, excuse me, second most dominant player outside of Wilt Chamberlain. So on one team you had the most dominant player and the most skilled basketball player. Both of them offensive weapons. When you think about it, yeah, they probably should have won more than 3 NBA championships. I think what happened with the Lakers is that you have 2 alpha males, and neither one of them really wanted to see control of the franchise. Shaq was the general. Shaq was the leader of that organization, leader of that team when he was, signed as a free agent in '96. Kobe was a rookie that year, the youngest player in the NBA, I believe. So Shaq probably looked at Kobe as a kid, Shaq by that time had already been to the NBA Finals. That team was consolidated around Shaq, but they weren't able to do anything in the playoffs until 2 things happened. Until they got Phil Jackson, who showed this team how to win, and Phil Jackson had to rein in Kobe Bryant to play within the team concept. Kobe was a raw basketball talent, and I will always say this about Kobe Bryant. Had Kobe Bryant went to college from '96 to '99, if he had went to college those 3 years instead of playing the NBA, and learned how to play within the team concept, I think Kobe Bryant would have been even better as a basketball player. Because he essentially had to learn on the job for 3 years in the NBA, something that he could have been taught in college and been more NBA ready at age 21 as opposed to coming to league at age 18. But I guess in hindsight, in retrospect, I'll just say this. Neither one of them carried the other. Okay. Now, if you want to ask me who I think was the better player, it's very, 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 very close. Very, very close, to the point where I actually have them right by each other in my rankings. I have Shaq at number 9. I have Kobe at number 8. Kobe, I rank a little bit ahead of Shaq because I think that he had the better career. He had the longer career. Although both of them had long careers. But I think Shaq broke down a little bit earlier than Kobe did. And it wasn't, it wasn't because Kobe didn't take care of himself, because he wore himself out. And the Achilles, once that went, Kobe was a shell of himself. But if you want to go peak for me, I would go with Shaq. Like I said, Shaq wasn't as dominant. Shaq wasn't as skilled as Kobe Bryant. Of course, he didn't have the fundamentals, the moves of a Tim Duncan or Hakeem Olajuwon, but he was just so physically dominant. Just so physically dominant at 7'1" and 300 pounds. He came to the league. Of course, he got up to 370, unofficially 380. 20 of his career is probably like 330, 340, 320, somewhere. His weight fluctuated a lot. But to be that large and to be that dominant as a basketball player, once he had it deep, once he got the ball down, deep under the basket, there's really nothing anybody can really do to stop him. Not Mourning, not Ewing, not Robinson, not Olajuwon, not any of those guys. Mutombo, saw what happened in 2001 finals. Shaq was unstoppable. His biggest flaw was his work ethic and free throws. And sometimes, because of his lack of ability to make shots outside of the paint and inability to make free throws, that could make Shaq a liability at times, especially in crunch time situations. Although, in my opinion, the hack of Shaq was kind of a stupid tactic because, yeah, Shaq was a poor free throw shooter, but the chances are that he's going to make one free throw. So, if you're a team and you're down by 2 with 2 minutes to go, and you foul Shaq, and he makes 1 out of 2, now your team has a 3-point lead, and you're forced to try to make a basket. Let's say you don't score. Then on the other end, you foul Shaq again. The odds are he's going to make 1 out of 2 free throws again. Now, all of a sudden, the Lakers have a 4-point lead. So now you're 2 possessions behind. So unless he's really off, he's not making any free throws, and you guys are really, scoring, it's kind of to me, like a dicey situation to be in with the hack of Shaq. Now, Kobe on the other end was a clutch performer, although I don't think he was as clutch as some people say he is. You know what I mean? He was clutch, but I've seen him miss a lot of shots in those situations. A lot of them. But he could get you baskets. I thought he was best when he would stick to the mid-range. When Kobe would sometimes to me, Kobe would get out of control when he would try to make some of these fucking ESPN highlight reel, like fall away 3-pointers over 8 defenders type shit. Sometimes Kobe would get into that mode. Don't get me wrong, a broken clock can be, will be right twice a day. Sometimes he'll make some of those shots and they'll be on the ESPN highlight reels. But the point is, he was able to make outside shots that Shaq couldn't make. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is, But they both worked well together when it worked. But it's just too bad that personal differences, and no matter what Shaq wants to say, there was a feud between these two guys. Okay, who was at fault? That's another video. But that's pretty much my answer to that, man. I think that they both were necessary cogs in the Lakers system, and I don't think any one of them carried who. You know what I'm saying? I don't look. I never looked at it like that. If you want to press me on it, maybe earlier on, Shaq was the more dominant guy offensively, but then it sort of, transitioned over to Kobe having more of the offensive load to the point where toward the end it was Kobe being the more dominant guy and Shaq being the secondary player. So that's pretty much it for what I got to say, man. And stop worrying about who I shout out on my fucking videos, man. I saw that bullshit. I'm like, man, why are you worrying about it for, man? I can shout whoever the fuck I want to shout out my video. Not long I've been on YouTube, I can shout out fucking smell oldies. I can shout out who the fuck I want to shout out, dude. Fuck wrong with you? Tell me some who I'm shouting. I don't know. I don't even know who you are. I'm too raw, bitch.